It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right? Hey, y'all. How you doing?
I think it's 5 o'clock everywhere in the United States, unless you're in Hawaii and Alaska. I'll take it as that. So
Love it.
love it. So welcome to our show, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. We are here on another day. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're live. And episode 177, we're going to talk about something very interesting. We came up with an idea last night and our last week, and I'll tell you why we come up with it, because this was my idea. Gladys, how often she goes along with my ideas.
Sometimes.
No. Yeah, it was a week ago, but it was my idea. And there's a lot of times that I come up with the idea and Gladys just makes it better, because I usually will bring the idea up and Gladys will look through 52 ideas before I just go, hey, this is what we're going to
do. There's that too.
Yeah, I mean, because
gotta have fun.
I pinpoint the idea and you find 50 recipes. That's usually what happens.
No, we each have to bring in something. No, that's never a bad thing.
Okay, now you're pausing on me again. I hate the Wi-Fi at your freaking house. Anyway, well, let me get this out of the Roberts.
This is, and it's Comcast. I have Comcast here, and I have Comcast. Okay. This is ridiculous. It shouldn't be this hard.
Anyway, I will tell you a way to avoid that later.
Something.
That how I avoid it at my house, and I don't have this problem at my house. There's a way to do it. Anyway, and it's something I learned 12 years ago. Anyway, tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be about cabbage soup. How many of you have ever had cabbage soup? Cabbage soup. All right. Now, I've had cabbage
soup before.
Yeah. I've had, I think maybe when I was younger, I might have had it. I don't remember it, right? But a couple of weeks ago, as you know, I was in Los Angeles for Craig Duswalt's boot camp, and afterwards, my friend Laura and her husband, they took me over to Brent's Deli, which is across the street from the hotel we had it at, which is a very famous deli. All right, in the Thousand Oaks area, that's known for like a New York style type deli. And I noticed they had on there cabbage soup was one of their things, so I decided to try their cabbage soup, and I'm like, it's pretty good. Their cabbage soup was better than the one I made today. I'm just saying. So anyway, but I said, let's do cabbage soup, and let's pair it with some good old beers from our hometown. So anyway, what you got? You got some Wi-Fi there, girl? There you go. Are you there yet? How about now? So we're going to stare at Gladys. She's going to appear on and off screen. So she really is having a dud of a day over there with the Wi-Fi. Anyway, cabbage soup. Yeah, Robert says he had it very much in abundance when he was younger.
I'm closing everything off.
Okay. So, how close are you to your Wi-Fi router? Anyway, yeah. Wi-Fi at her house, just a little bit. So anyway, we're going to have some of that today. We're going to have some cabbage soup. I chose, because I'm in the Texas area, I got some Texas beers to go along with it today. This one here was called a Mosaic IPA. All right, I have two IPAs. So the Mosaic IPA. So this is the Italian restaurant down the street from my house. This is one that they stock quite regularly, and they just happen to have a bottle of it there. They sold me a bottle of it to be able to put in with today's show, because it was a Texas IPA. The second one now, Gladys and I were actually we did a broadcast from this spot when Gladys was in town, the Armor Brewery, and I got their IPA. But then I had a third beer. This is a honey lager that was brewed by the Manhattan Project Beer Company in Dallas, Texas. It is called Gold Flash, and it is a honey lager. All right. The lager, I think, is going to go better with the cabbage soup than the IPA, but I will taste it and let you know. Anyway, some things that I went and got to put along with my cabbage soup. a fresh roll of sourdough bread. Cooked me a couple pieces of it. All right, made me a dish out like this. So I got the soup there in the center, and I've nice some nice pieces of sourdough bread go with it. Kind of dunk it into it. Really goes over very, very well. And then I decided to pull my old beer tasting glasses out here, and I'm just going to kind of pour them out in different ranks so I can taste them differently with the cabbage soup. So I got my recipe, and then I'll ask Gladys when she got hers. I got my recipe off the pioneer woman who had a show on, I think it was Food Network. She's an Oklahoma rancher, all right, who cooks a lot of stuff.
I love her.
Yeah, I went to her website to get this one. So this is her recipe that I used, and mixed it up. The only thing I added to mine that wasn't included was, I'm like, there's no meat in this thing. I'm going to add some meat. So I chopped me up a little bit of beef brisket sausage I got from HEB and put in there and cooking it the last hour. So, which actually gave it a nice smoky taste to it. So got nice pieces of it right here. So
you know, I was gonna do that. The problem was that it's too much sausage and it will not get eaten. So what I did is that I went to the butcher at Kroger and I picked up this chicken apple sausage and I cooked it. And so I'm going to add that to it because my protein were the cannellini beans. Mine came from Love and Lemons. And so they called for cannellini or Great Northwest beans, which I put in there. I almost didn't. And then I thought, you know what? I need a protein. So that's why I got this, so that I only got 2 of them. I cut up one. The other one is, so I figured I could use that for something else. But it got cooked before, here it is. And they used the fire roasted tomatoes to give that beautiful color. And so I came up with Bowie Beer, West Coast Pilsner, Zagla House, a Zogel Pils, Northwestern German style Pilsner. The other things what I had in my fridge were these 2 plus the Stormbreaker. This is one that I have ran a 5K through my Run for Beer. So there's Stormbreaker. This one is Portugal the Man, and there is history behind that. 2 others these 2 I purchased today because I didn't realize I had 3 in my fridge already. 10 Barrel Brewing, pub beer. There's a story why I like this one. And then Widmer Brothers. This one's a hef. So I have a hef, I have a lager, I have a Mexican lager here. And then I have 2, one is a German style Pilsner and the other one is a West Coast Pilsner. So that's what I have. And I do have history on most of these, but they are all Portland, or excuse me, they are all Oregon. They're not all Portland because some of them did start in 1984 by 2 brothers, Kurt and Robert Widmer. And they were one of the pioneers in getting the craft brewery started, which is pretty cool. So they started with an American hef, which is this one, and they started repurposing dairy equipment. So this is back in '84, so they've been at it for a long time. They later partnered with Anheuser-Busch and became part of the Craft Brew Alliance. But it took 2 years for them when they first started it to when they started to bring out their flagship in '86. Then in the 1990s into 2000, that's when they expanded and they partnered with Anheuser-Busch. But they, in 2008, they had over 450,000 barrels that they were doing annually. And then the original pub that they opened in 2018, or that they originally it started to decline in 2018 because of the craft market. But then in 2023, Anheuser-Busch sold its stake in the Craft Brew Alliance, including Widmer, to Tilray. I didn't have a chance to look up Tilray, but Anheuser-Busch is out of the picture, which is a good thing. And then Stormbreaker Brewing, they started in 2014, again, by a couple of guys that were friends, and they are in North Mississippi, so it's in North Portland area, but they have 2 locations, and it refers, so the word or their name, Stormbreaker, refers to Mount Hood's reputation for breaking through the clouds. So yesterday, it was like ugly, but as I was driving, there's all these clouds, and then Mount Hood, you could see the top of it. I was on the freeway, so I couldn't take a picture, but I absolutely thought about that going, yep, Mount Hood going through the clouds, which was awesome. And they celebrated their 10th anniversary in 2024. And they do have some award-winning beers. And one of the beers that they actually, Portugal the Man here, this beer, if you all heard the band Portugal the Man, they are from Portland. So they ended up collaborating, and this was released in February of 25. So when this was released, I ran that 5K, I think a couple of months after that. They also have some other supporting, but it is a Mexican style lager, and all the proceeds of the canned beers are to support Francis Changed My Life campaign. So Portugal the Man is part of this whole organization, which I thought was pretty cool. So those are just kind of 2 of the ones that I have. Bowie beer, this area. So this is one. Usually when you see Bowie, you see IPAs. I went with their West Coast Pilsner. Mm-hmm. So that's our pub beer. So pub beer, I had been tasked to pick up beer, and I was like, for a group, for a gathering. So I remember going into the Circle K, 7-Eleven, whatever it was, and I'm like, okay, because I knew I was going to have time to stop by the supermarket. So I see pub beer, and it was like a 24 cans. And I thought it was funny because what I remember growing up, Lucky Supermarket had their yellow tag. So everything was yellow, and all it said was beer. Or if it was iced tea, it said iced tea. Whatever it was, it just said what it was on a yellow label. Very basic. So that's what this reminded me of. And I thought it was the funniest thing. But then I saw that it was 10 Barrel Brewing, and I went, oh, so 10 Barrel Brewing is making a pub beer. So this is really good beer. This lager has good flavor. So as simple as it looks, good beer here. So this is a go-to at a pub. If they have pub beer, they usually put it on sale. I go out, so it's kind of fun. So that's where I'm at. And then, of course, I did have to bring out my brewery run series little glasses that says be active, have fun, give back, because they do support local. So the proceeds, or part of the proceeds of the of when you buy your race bib, if you will, it goes to a local. Sometimes it's Habitat for Humanity. We do have multiple races that are for Big Brother, Big Sisters, and one of their events. It's kind of cool because it's like, hey, I'm already supporting you. And they do have others that are part of it. So they're supporting local. So if we're supporting local with our beer, let's have the glasses too. So
cool. Of course, I'm using my little one here.
Open the Bowie.
I'm tasting into my soup, and I'm doing some of the vegetables, then going back and doing some of the broth. And I've tasted all 3 of my beers. And the beer it goes best with is this Mosaic IPA from Texas.
Okay.
It is brewed in Dallas, Texas, by the Community Beer Company, and it is the best. To me, it is the best. It is a dark, more of a dark amber looking than it is the light. The other one here, this is the Gold Flash, which is a very light looking, but it is a lager. and then the Armor IPA, more of more of a golden, but a dark golden, as opposed to this one is
Okay.
the golden brown, and the golden brown from Community goes the best with it.
I'm going to see how it goes with these Pilsners because they're both Pilsners. I'm going to see if there's a difference. I don't know. But the colors are pretty similar.
Yeah.
And then this cabbage soup looks pretty yummy, actually. I'm going to see if I can get a good picture of it here. Ooh.
I want to go through because like different cabbage soup recipes have different things in them. Mine had, I had a yellow onion, meat, carrot, some carrots, salt, pepper. They gave me an option to put fennel seed in it, but I did not. It asked for a green cabbage head. I put green cabbage head into it, and then I actually got some, some shredded cabbage and put in there as well. 4 garlic cloves, vegetable broth, which I made my own vegetable broth. 2 cans of diced tomatoes. Then I had some white beans put into it. And then I've added, so it said chopped parsley for serving. I put a little bit of the parsley into it as it went in. I chopped all this up and put it in probably about 3.5 hours ago. I started cooking it. No.
Yeah. So mine, they called for 2 cans of the fire roasted tomatoes in the can, or in the can. I only used 1 instead of 2. It called for 1 pound of cabbage. It called for carrots, celery, potatoes, and then the cannellini or a white bean. It called for vegetable stock. I used chicken stock because that's what I wanted to use. Onion, salt, pepper, garlic, like fresh garlic, as well as thyme. I did not put thyme in it because I spaced out and forgot. But what I did with the fire roasted, because when I get fire roasted tomatoes, when tomatoes are out of season, I would use the fire roasted tomatoes to make my salsa.
Yeah.
So they had, it was, is it Open Nature or one of those, had the fire roasted tomato salsa style. So it had Anaheim chilies in there, a little bit of jalapeno. And I thought, I want a little bit of a kick in this soup. So when I got the chicken, the chicken apple, I knew it would be a little sweet, the sausage, but I thought that would contrast with the spice. And I knew there was going to be spice in here, and there's definitely spice in here. I kind of like that. So
I did think about taking out my vegetable, and I thought about adding beef broth instead. And I was almost going to do beef broth, and I was going to do a little bit of ground beef in mine, but I didn't. So instead, I went with the beef. I added a beef sausage that I had, and I think, and I also did think about, instead of the diced tomatoes, I thought about doing salsa. I really did. I thought if I would have done it with salsa, that would have been an interesting twist. So, but the diced tomatoes provided a lot of the liquid for it, is why, because they were not drained. It was just the liquid and all. Whereas the beans, I drained my beans and I rinsed them before I put them in. So.
Yeah, that I did too. That was rinse and drain and the whole thing. Because I had seen some recipes that just called for tomatoes or canned tomatoes, but I like the idea of the fire roasted because I love fire roasted.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I mentioned potatoes also was another thing that we could throw in there. So this is kind of nice, and this is very healthy. Some people will use cabbage soup to cleanse their system. So I remember way back when, like years ago, it was a thing. It was like, do the cabbage soup. But
I know
I think now, I think cabbage has gotten better because people are.
All right, you're breaking up, so I'm going to go in this. When Gwen got home today, she wasn't feeling well. So first thing she did was take a nice bowl of this and some bread, and she basically took it and said, "This is going to be my dinner," and I'm sure it'll help clean her, help her feel better. It's a good hearty stew if you want to really think about it. So.
It is, especially when you're adding, because you have so many vegetables in here.
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't add celery, and celery probably would have been a great add to it too. Anyway.
Did you put potatoes in yours?
I did not put potatoes in mine. And I
didn't even think about. Did you put potatoes in yours?
No potatoes in mine. I thought about it, but I didn't do it. So. Okay. Anyway, so I mean, to me, this is an interesting thing. It was interesting to do. It's something I know we're in March, and it's kind of like that hearty. You're still not quite fully out of winter, so it's like one of those hearty stews. Which, I mean, the things that we've done on here, I don't think we've done very many hearty stews. Like last week, we did the shepherd's pie, which is a good hearty meal. But this one here would be one of those meals that, again, would help cleanse you as well as fill you up, or make you feel better. All right, if you weren't feeling that well and under the weather, you know what I mean. It would kind of be a good pick me up kind of food. So.
I am thinking that because of the chicken outage, I'm thinking that the German style pills taste better because of that sweetness in there.
I'll bet you the German.
I think if I didn't have the sausage, I think if it didn't have the sausage, Bowie might have come in, but Bowie is a little bit on the stronger side, even though the colors are very similar. Bowie has more of that hoppy flavor in there. It's a little bit hoppier.
Well, that's why I went with the IPAs, because this is more of a European style stew, which hoppy goes with. You think about like what your European type soups are going to be. Hoppy type beers would be what would match with them best. And I love it. I'm cut you with mouthful. Anyway. Are you there, girl? We're losing Gladys really fast this week. Hello. We see you move, but we can't hear anything you say. Try again. You went silent for some reason or another.
Okay. Now is it better?
There you go.
Hello. Okay. The system did something. So you're right. Cabbage soup has ancient and medieval origins, and particularly in Eastern Europe, because it was considered peasant food due to the vegetable availability and the nutritional value. So in Russia since the 9th century, but in ancient Rome, they used a lot of cabbage. They boiled it and they saw it as something for the digestive system. So by the 15th century, there was a lot of recipes with cabbage in England also. And it was made with beef broth, saffron, and breadcrumbs. So it is a staple in Eastern European cultures, which I thought was kind of cool. But the interesting thing is that the cabbage soup diet was popularized back in the 1950s and then again in the 1980s. mind you, I didn't know about it till the 1990s. So it was the fad diet, all controversial like any diets are. But there is just a lot of more modern now. It's about traditional comfort food. It's versatility, and also that you can have vegan versions of it. But it always has that cabbage, water or broth, beef or bone, or vegetable. And then your onions, your garlics, your leeks, your parsley, and salt.
Yep.
And then, of course, you can add all the other goodies.
I would be curious. I know Robert said he's had it.
This came out very young.
No, I would be curious as what other of our listeners have actually tried cabbage or made their own cabbage soup. And tell us if you have. Tell us what's in your recipe and what you've done with it. And then tell us what you drink with it. Because we decided to pair it with beers tonight, and I don't know if I'd want to drink this with a wine, and I really don't think I'd want a whiskey with this. I take this as more of as a beer pairing. I really do.
Yeah, I think so. It's hearty. You want something that's having a hearty soup with the weather, with a drink that's going to hold up to it, and make it add value to or add flavor to it. I think the beer would be the best.
Yeah. I think the beer just goes hand in hand with it better than anything else. So, which what our show is about, pairing good foods with good drinks. So anyway,
I want more of this.
I still have a pot of it out there. I made a full pot of it. So yeah. And because I know I can heat it up and add bread to,
as it was calling for.
Huh?
Yeah. It was with mine. I didn't have the recipe, but I didn't make the full recipe.
Okay.
And I have a whole pot.
Okay. Yeah, I made a full recipe, which means I'll have it in my refrigerator for the next few days. But all the scraps, all my vegetable scraps from making it, my chickens had a heyday when I took those vegetable scraps out to them today. They swallowed them up in no time flat. Anyway.
This is good. German style Pilsner wins this time.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with an IPA. All right, because I had tried it with IPAs and lagers.
The German style Pilsner wins this time.
Yeah, I would think the German style anything, but would be better. So I didn't have any.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
I had it in my fridge. I didn't even realize I had it in there, and it's 4.8% alcohol by volume. This one, let me read to you what it says. Our German-trained brewmaster loves brewing according to German tradition. In fact, we only use German malts, hops, and yeast from our gold medal-winning Zolg Pils. Of all the Pilsner sub-styles, the one brewed in northern Germany is the driest and crispiest with a bold hop character. Hercules and Hallert, oh my goodness, Mittenbrink hops shine while providing the spice and snappy hop flavors and aromas by the classically brewed pills. And they're in Portland. So I think that hoppiness and that the spice in it also added, it went well because this had a little bit of a kick. And I think I like that little bit of a kick. It gives a good flavor.
Cool. Am I still with you or did I lose you? There you are.
And this is why I don't do the podcast from home very often.
Yeah.
I don't
All right,
have everything closed, so I have no idea
Anyway, I'm going to help Gladys fix this, but in the meantime, we're going to see if we can get her to do her commercial real quick. I'm going to put her banner up there and tell her to go do a commercial, see if she gets it. Tell everybody about your business, Gladys.
All right, y'all. Gladys Boutwell Insurance by Design, helping you become employer of choice through providing employee benefits. There's 101 different ways you can provide employee benefits, and that will show your employees how much you care. If you want to talk about what options you have, let's go to enrollnoworegon.com, which is my calendar, and you can schedule some time with me. That's enrollnoworegon.com. But if you want to know what can you do, that's where we can start. We can start the conversation. If I can do something for you, I probably know a broker in your state that will. That's Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design, and here is my co-host.
Hey guys, my name is Tim Gillette. Simple Easy Websites is my company that we're sponsoring this with. We build websites and manage websites for the small entrepreneur, the small business owner, all right, the solopreneur who basically has better things to do with their time than sit there and try to figure out code and run a website. So we will take care of it for them. If you want to find out more, book an appointment with us, simpleeasywebsites.com. One other thing I'm going to do today, guys, is make sure you go and check out, join our what we call our mailing list. It's our Insiders Club, all right, VIP Club. Go to likethewayyouDrink.com. All right, the page will be changing here in the next couple of days because I'm doing some updates on the page. And, you must be 21 to join. And by the way, I do want to state this, that we do not on this show encourage anyone under the age of 18 to drink. It is not something that we do. Please follow the laws and rules of your state and your communities. All right. We in no way, if you are underage, we in no way are looking to have you on our podcast. It's just not what we do. All right. I want to make sure I stated that because lately someone said, well, maybe you're encouraging. We're not encouraging it, ladies and gentlemen. We highly discourage it. All right. You must be 21 to drink. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, all right. I know we have some flip-flops and some different, techniques with Gladys because she's at home this week. So we're going to cut the broadcast a little bit short today as opposed to our normal 45-minute broadcast. We're going to say cheers as we go, and we'll come back here next week with a new idea. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.